Good morning and welcome. At this time, I call to order Muskogee Creek National Council regular session, May 22nd, 2021. Time is 10 a.m. At this time, I'd like to ask Representative Anna Marshall if she would do the invocation, please.
Let us pray. Creator God, we just come to you at this moment in particular, and we just ask that you just give us the guidance and the wisdom and the knowledge that we can make the right decisions today, and that we make them with a just and right mind and soul, and we do it in the spirit that you have given us. And we just ask that you just continue to guide our steps through this meeting, and as we leave this place, let us leave with peace, love, and respect for each other. And we just ask that you give us traveling mercies as we leave. And we just ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Representative Marshall. Roll call, National Council Secretary Christy Jackson.
Speaker Randall Hicks.
Present.
Mary Crawford.
Present.
Joyce Steer.
Present.
Patrick Freeman.
Here.
Joseph Hicks.
Here.
Robert Huff.
Present.
James Jennings.
Here.
Adam Jones.
Here.
William Lowe.
Here.
Anna Marshall.
Present.
Charles McHenry.
Here.
Thomasina Hull Osborne.
Present.
Daryl Proctor.
Here.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Lucian Tiger III.
Present.
Speaker, you have 15 present, 0 absent.
15 present, 0 absent, constitutes a quorum. All business conducted will be official. Approval of minutes. Extraordinary session, March 30, 2021. Planning session, April 20th, 2021. Pre-agenda, quarterly session, April 24th, 2021.
Speaker, make a motion to approve the minutes with any changes necessary.
Representative Tiger made a motion to approve the minutes with any corrections as needed.
Second.
Seconded by Representative Marshall. Discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Lucian Tiger III.
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Joyce Steer.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman. Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Adam Jones. William Lowe.
Yes.
Anna Marshall.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Thomasina Hull Osborne.
Yes.
Daryl Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion passes. Veto message. NCA 21039. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA 20025. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of federal, state, and local funds received by the Muskogee Creek Nation to provide tribal services in response to the COVID-19 virus. Returned as a veto on May 14th, 2021.
Speaker, make a motion to override the veto.
Motion made by Representative Lowe to override NCA 21039. Veto. Seconded by Representative Jones. Discussion. Okay, we will have the veto message read. Oh, Representative Lowe, will you make a motion to have the veto read, please?
Speaker, make a motion for the veto to be read to the council, please.
Do I have a second for?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Jones to have the veto read aloud. Any discussion? Okay, this vote is to have the message read aloud. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Anna Marshall. Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Thomasina Hull Osborne.
Yes.
Daryl Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III.
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Joyce Steer.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. At this time, I'll have or ask Legislative Research Specialist Alicia Strobel to read the veto message.
Dear Speaker Hicks, I'm returning NCA 21039 herewith.
A message of the Principal Chief returning NCA 21039 to the National Council as a veto with objections. In accordance with the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I, David W. H. Hill, Principal Chief of the Muskogee Creek Nation, do hereby return NCA 21039 entitled A Law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA 2025. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of federal, state, and local funds received by the Muskogee Creek Nation to provide tribal services in response to the COVID-19 virus as a veto with the following objections. Objections. The purported purpose of NCA 21039 is to amend NCA 20025. NCA 2025 authorizes the expenditure of funds awarded to the nation from federal, state, and local agencies to provide services in response to the COVID-19 virus. The authorization would terminate upon the lifting of the Muskogee Creek Nation state of emergency. NCA 21039 amends the termination date to April 24th, 2021, a date that has already passed. NCA 21039 is vague in that it does not articulate which funds are at issue, such as the CARES Act funds, ARP funds, grant funds, or other funds. If it is meant to stop the expenditure of all relief funds that have already been appropriated, NCA 21039 conflicts with other laws that specifically appropriated and authorized the expenditure of CARES Act and other funds. Further, those funds may not have expended, but the funds may have already been encumbered. The potential refusal to pay encumbered expenditures from previously approved appropriations is bad government policy. To avoid such a scenario, a specific funding sources should be articulated with a sunset provision in the future, not the past. For the reasons outlined above, NCA 21039 is hereby returned as a veto.
Thank you, Alicia. Discussion.
Speaker.
Representative Lowe.
Thank you, Speaker. The initial intent of this legislation was basically to set a date for the executive branch to actually come back to the National Council for authorization for any expenditures. Basically what it says in Section D of this legislation, sir.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Speaker.
Representative Randolph.
Chief Hill, would you like anyone to address this?
Thank you, Representative Randolph. It's basically what's in the objections. I did contact Mr. Will Lowe on what the actual meaning that you was wanting to do to that legislation. So, you know, if it doesn't pass or it's overridden, whatever, I'll be willing to sit down with Representative Lowe and see what we can do.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Any other discussion? Hearing none, must have 2/3 votes to override. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hulla Osborne,
No.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Vicar Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 1 against.
14 in favor, 1 against. That motion passes. NCA 21 21-041, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation establishing guidelines regarding the authorization of the expenditure of the American Rescue Plan funding, returned as a veto on May 14th, 2021.
Speaker will make a motion to override veto and have the veto read aloud.
Motion made by Representative Lowe to override NCA 21-041 veto and have the veto letter read with the objections. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Discussion? Discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Strobel, will you come forward and read the veto, please?
Dear Speaker Hicks, I'm returning NCA 21-041 herewith. A message of the Principal Chief returning NCA 21-041 to the National Council as a veto with objections. In accordance with the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I, David W. H. Hill, Principal Chief of the Muskogee Creek Nation, do hereby return NCA 21-041 entitled A Law of the Muskogee Creek Nation Establishing Guidelines Regarding the Expenditure of the American Rescue Plan Funding as a veto with the following objections. NCA 21-041, Section 3B states, each standing chair shall be permitted to contact relevant employees in each department within his or her respective standing committee jurisdiction regarding expenditures. The National Council should be provided documentation of all expenditures of American Rescue Plan funding. In fact, Section 4 NCA 21-041 provides for such a monthly report from the Controller's Office. There is no need for standing committee chairs to contact employees regarding expenditures of funds that have gone through the full budget process as required by Section 3A. All inquiries on expenditures of appropriate funds should be directed to the Controller, not department employees. The Supreme Court has recognized that the National Council should be cognizant during the budget process of the strain on individual governmental departments caused by calling individuals to testify before the Council, and additional safeguards shall be put into place that minimize the loss of employees' vital time from the work of the nation. Ellis versus National Council, SC 050305, page 13. Just as employees should not be overburdened during the budget process, employees should not be required to take time from their normal duties to address inquiries about expenditures from funds that have already been budgeted and appropriated. For the reasons outlined above, NCA 21-041 is hereby returned as a veto.
Thank you, Alicia. Discussion, council. Representative Randolph.
I'd like to give some time for the chief if he'd like to speak, or representative.
Thank you, sir. Principal Chief Hill.
Thank you. As mentioned earlier, I did contact Representative Lowe. As far as the whole legislation, I'm not really concerned of it, just only in Section 3, Item B, as far as contacting the employee. I just really hate to disrupt the daily operation of contacting them for information. As it's been going from here on, I feel that we've answered a lot of the questions. I get the emails from you, Speaker, and different individuals that we're meeting the answers. And also in the previous legislation, it's also noted that you'll get a report from the Controller's Office. So I feel like we're just kind of duplicating if you're calling them directly. So, they all have all these other cases, applications they're going through. I just really hate to disrupt what they're doing. So if we just proceed the way we're doing now, we'll provide that information.
Thank you, Chief. Council, you have any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Randolph.
I'm good, Speaker Mado.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. I apologize. Any other discussion? Hearing none, must have 2/3 votes to override. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hull Osborne,
No.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford, Joyce Deere,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Speaker Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Speaker, I have 13 in favor, 2 against.
13 in favor, 2 against. That motion passes. NCA 21045. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation creating new law in Title 30, Chapter 9, entitled Government Records, returned as a veto on May 14th, 2021.
Speaker, make a motion to override the veto and that the veto message be read, please.
Motion made by Representative Tiger to override NCA 21045 veto and have the veto letter read aloud. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Deere. Discussion. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Strobel, will you read that veto message, please?
Dear Speaker Hicks, I'm returning NCA 21045 herewith. A message of the Principal Chief returning NCA 21045 to the National Council as a veto with objections. In accordance with the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I, David W.H. Hill, Principal Chief of the Muskogee Creek Nation, do hereby return NCA 21045 entitled A Law of the Muskogee Creek Nation creating a new law in Title 30, Chapter 9, entitled Government Records, as a veto with the following objections. Objections. The purported purpose of NCA 21045 is to give individual members of the National Council the authority to obtain records of the nation regardless of confidentiality or privilege. Only narrow categories of records are not to be disclosed to National Council members. The role of the National Council is to legislate. Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation, Article 6, subsections 2 and 7, Ellis versus National Council, SC 0305 at page 7 and 14. Individual National Council members are not endowed with super investigatory powers by virtue of their election. Indeed, our Supreme Court has noted that the National Council's power to investigate is limited in both in scope and purpose. In Ellis versus National Council, SC 050305, the Supreme Court specifically held that the National Council's investigatory powers were constitutionally limited. The Ellis Court stated, United States case law recognizes the power of Congress to investigate matters and call witnesses. There can be no doubt as to the power of Congress by itself or through its committees to investigate matters and conditions related to contemplated legislation. This power, deeply rooted in American English institutions, is indeed coextensive with the power to legislate. Without the power to investigate, including, of course, the authority to compel testimony either through its own processes or through judicial trial, Congress could be seriously handicapped in its efforts to exercise its constitutional function wisely and effectively. Quinn versus U.S. However, the court in Quinn did not give Congress unrestrained powers, but recognized limitations. But the power to investigate, broad as it may be, is also subject to recognized limitations. It cannot be used to inquire into private affairs unrelated to a valid legislative purpose, nor does it extend to an area in which Congress is forbidden to legislate. Similarly, the power to investigate must not be confused with any of the powers of law enforcement. Those powers are assigned under our Constitution to the executive and the judiciary. Still further limitations on the power to investigate are found in specific individual guarantees of the Bill of Rights, such as the Fifth Amendment's privilege against self-incrimination, in which is in issue here. This court agrees with and adopts the reasoning of the United States Supreme Court on the issue in Quinn, which is consistent with this court's rulings. There is no doubt that the National Council, in order to properly legislate for the nation, needs additional information from time to time. Therefore, it is imperative that the process of calling witnesses and experts be allowed to continue amid constitutional safeguards such as due process. It is incumbent upon and hereby ordered that the National Council craft rules and safeguard every Muscogee Creek Nation citizen or employee, regardless of position, from the contempt powers of the National Council unless a subpoena is specifically issued and due process is implemented. The language of those rules shall also recognize and address the strain on individual governmental departments caused by calling individuals to testify before the council, and additional safeguards shall be put in place that minimize the loss of the employee's vital time from work of the nation. Finally, appropriate language should be drafted that addresses the subjects of subpoena, testimony, and contempt proceedings against the principal chief and/or second chief, consistent with laws on executive privilege. It follows that this court holds that Title 30, subsections 3-104, 8-101, and 8-102 of the Muscogee Creek Nation Code, as such sections pertaining to the investigatory powers of the National Council, are hereby stricken as unconstitutional violations of individual rights to due process of law. Ellis versus National Council. As a result of Title 30, subsections 3-104, 8-101, and 8-102 being declared unconstitutional, the National Council passed and the principal chief signed NCA 07191. NCA 07191 recognized that the National Council's investigatory powers were limited to validly issued subpoenas. This law also provided due process protections to employees and citizens and recognized that the principal chief and second chief were immune from the law due to executive privilege. Contrary to the constraints of the Constitution, Ellis and NCA 07191, NCA 21045 would purportedly allow individual members of the National Council to obtain confidential records such as children and family service records about child abuse or deprived child proceedings, domestic violence records, sealed court records, guardianship, and juvenile records, and documents subject to confidentiality agreements with other branches of the government. The National Council cannot waive claims of privilege or confidentiality that belong to other branches of government by its own fiat. The National Council's power of investigations are limited as a body to properly issued subpoenas subject to due process and privilege. The National Council cannot confer powers on its individual members that it does not possess as a body. In addition, NCA 21045 seeks to punish employees who fail to comply with records requests, but includes no accountability for National Council members who disclose private or sensitive information from those records to others. The Constitution was enacted to protect the citizens from the overreach of their government. NCA 21045 is a prime example of overreach by the National Council into private affairs unrelated to valid legislative purpose. NCA 2105 is unconstitutional and contrary to established Supreme Court case law. For the reasons outlined above, NCA 21045 is hereby returned as a veto.
Thank you, Alicia. Council, is there any discussion? Representative Randolph?
Speaker, I'd like to give Chief some time again.
Chief Hill?
Speaker, if you don't mind, I'd like to give time for Rod Weimer.
Thank you, Chief. National Council members, I would just submit to you that the scope and limits of the investigatory powers of the National Council were decided 16 years ago in a Supreme Court case. And I think that limits NCA 21-45 and that it's clearly unconstitutional as a result of the previous decisions in Ellis versus National Council.
Thank you, Mr. Weimer. Council, any questions?
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Attorney General Wiley. You come to the mic, please. Thank you. Good morning, Attorney General Wiley. Do you have any concerns or issues with this piece of legislation?
Well, I don't have the legislation in front of me. My initial concern was the provision that said there were no confidential claims, but I understand that was removed from the legislation. Is that
Yes,
true?
Sir. That is correct.
That was my biggest concern.
Thank
If
you.
it was removed, then no, I don't have any concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher,
Yes, sir.
do you have any issues or comments or concerns with this legislation?
I would just echo what Attorney General Wiley just indicated. That was the only concern I had as well, and that was taken out of the legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, must have 2/3 votes to override. Roll call, please.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Speaker Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mary Crawford, Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
No.
Thomasina Hulla Osborne,
No.
Daryl Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
No.
Speaker, I have 12 in favor, 3 against.
12 in favor, 3 against. That motion passes. Next item is order of business. TR 21069, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a temporary operating permit with Warrior Fireworks for the operation of one temporary fireworks sales facility on tribal trust land. Sponsors Daryl Proctor.
Speaker, motion to adopt, yes.
Representative Proctor made a motion to adopt TR 21069. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Jones. Discussion. Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted. TR 21070, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Housing contract with Wagnon Construction, Inc. Sponsors Charles McHenry.
Speaker, I make a motion to adopt.
Representative McHenry made a motion to adopt TR 21070, seconded by Representative Randolph. Any discussion? Representative Lowe?
No, Speaker. I just want to mention to the council, I did receive a call from a disabled veteran who's a citizen who actually had some renovations done from this company. I was told that they did a substandard job and the communication between them and the homeowner was very little. So I just want to say that much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. Any other discussion? Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hulla Osborne,
Yes.
Daryl Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Lucian Tiger III,
No.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
No.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
No.
James Jennings, Adam Jones,
No.
William Lowe,
No.
Anna Marshall.
No.
Speaker, have 5 in favor, 9 against.
5 in favor, 9 against. That motion fails. TR 21071, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a memorandum of agreement between the nation and the Oklahoma Department of Transportation for a drainage improvement project located at U.S. Highway 75, State Highway 56. Sponsors Charles McHenry. Speaker, make a motion to adopt. Representative McHenry made a motion to adopt TR 21071, seconded by Representative Randolph. Discussion? Discussion? Representative? Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted. TR 21072, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Muskogee Creek Nation, Alabama Costardy Tribal Town, Kialedge Tribal Town, and Topsaco Tribal Town for the method of allocation for the nation's proportional share of funding for housing and urban development funds and the FY 2022 include Indian Housing Block Grant. Sponsors Thomasine Yehola Osborne.
Speaker, motion to adopt.
Representative Yehola Osborne made a motion to adopt TR 21072. Do I have a second?
Marshall seconds.
Seconded by Representative Marshall. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted. TR 21075, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation approving a memorandum of understanding between the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Muskogee Creek Nation. Sponsors William Lowe.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative Lowe made a motion to adopt TR 21075. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Jones. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted. TR 21076, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation confirming the nomination of John Freeman to serve on the Muskogee International LLC, MI LLC Board of Directors. Sponsors Travis Scott.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Jones made a motion to adopt TR 21076. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Jennings. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasine Yehola Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Speaker, I have 13 in favor, 0 against, 1 to abstain.
13 in favor, 0 against, and 1 to abstain. That motion is adopted. Congratulations, Mr. Freeman. TR 21077, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation confirming the nomination of Dr. Michael Hughes to serve on the Muskogee International LLC, MI LLC Board of Directors. Sponsors Travis Scott.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Jones made a motion to adopt TR 21077. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Proctor. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasine Yehola Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Speaker, I have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. Congratulations, Mr. Hughes. TR 21078, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation supporting the Tulsa Regional Chamber of Commerce for the Tulsa's Future Road to Recovery campaign. Sponsors William Lowe.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative Lowe made a motion to adopt TR 21078. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Tiger. Discussion. Representative Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just have a comment that I can't support this. I didn't support it when they came several years ago to receive funding. I don't see exactly where it benefits the Creek citizens. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Representative Jennings. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
No.
Charles McHenry,
No.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
No.
Gerald Proctor,
No.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
No.
Joyce Steer,
No.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
No.
James Jennings,
No.
Adam Jones.
No.
Speaker, I have 3 in favor, 11 against.
3 in favor, 11 against. That motion fails. TR 21079, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation confirming the nomination of Mary Mashankashay as the tax commissioner of the Muskogee Creek Nation. Sponsors Joseph Hicks.
Speaker, I make a motion to adopt.
Representative Hicks made a motion to adopt TR 21079. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Lowe. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
No.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
No.
Adam Jones,
No.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Abstain.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
No.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
No.
Mary Crawford,
No.
Joyce Steer,
No.
Patrick Freeman. Speaker, I have 5 in favor, 8 against, 1 to abstain.
5 in favor, 8 against, 1 to abstain. That motion fails. TR 21080, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending TR 19076, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation to suspend all special appropriations and donation as amended by TR 20150. Sponsors James Jennings.
Speaker, motion to adopt.
Representative Jennings made a motion to adopt TR 21080. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Lowe. Discussion.
Speaker.
Representative Jones.
Speaker, this is for Chief. Chief, you think we could possibly postpone this for 1 month and maybe look at the ARP monies and something that we look at doing something for all the communities back to
That's totally up to the sponsor. This didn't come from my office.
Well, I sponsored the TR to amend the appropriations, but NCA came out of the chief's office appropriating the funds.
You wait and talk about it then.
we can talk about it on the NCA, but I was just trying to see if we could postpone it and possibly look at something doing for all the communities instead of just doing something for one. Maybe looking, visiting with Tara about the CARES, or possibly, I know there's not any CARES left, but the ARP money's coming ahead.
Yeah,
That way we could figure out something.
Wish of the
along-
council. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you
Thank
want.
you. Thank you, Chief. Making a motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion has been made by Representative Jones to postpone for 1 month. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote to postpone for 1 month.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings.
No.
Speaker, I have 13 in favor, 1 against.
13 in favor, 1 against. That motion passes. TR 21081, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation, the nation authorizing the principal chief to enter into amendment number 2 in the loan agreement with BOKF NA DBA Bank of Oklahoma and the lenders party thereto. Sponsors Patrick Freeman Jr.
Speaker, I make a motion to adopt.
Representative Freeman made a motion to adopt TR 21081. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Jones. Discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion is adopted. TR 21082. TR 21082. A tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation confirming the nomination of Tim Goodvoice to serve on the Muskogee Loan Fund Board. Sponsors Adam Jones III.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Jones made a motion to adopt TR 21082. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Jennings. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Speaker, I have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. Congratulations, Mr. Goodvoice. TR 21083, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing demolition related to the construction of the GOAB administration building project. Sponsors Patrick Freeman Jr.
Speaker, I make a motion to adopt.
Representative Freeman made a motion to adopt TR 21083. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted. NCA 21048, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of grant funds awarded from the Oklahoma State University Office of Rural Health for the Small Hospital Improvement Program, SHIP grant. Sponsors Anna Marshall.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Marshall made a motion to adopt NCA 21048. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Yohola Osborne. Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. NCA 21050, A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds to the Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Agricultural and Natural Resources for the purchase of lifetime hunting and fishing licenses with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation. Sponsors Mark Randolph.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Randolph made a motion to adopt NCA 21050. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative McHenry. Discussion.
Speaker.
Representative Jones.
Thank you. I can't support this because, you know, if we just look at the McGirt case and the reservation boundaries, to exercise our sovereignty completely, we can hunt within the boundaries of our nation. And, you know, to purchase hunting license for us to hunt outside the boundaries of Creek Nation kind of goes against that. So I can't support, you know, for us paying for a hunting license outside the boundaries of Creek Nation. You know, there's no way that I could do that. So, thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Jones. Any other discussion?
Speaker.
Representative Jennings.
Thank you, Speaker. Could someone tell me exactly how many citizens this will affect?
Mr. Trent Kissy, can you address this question, please?
Yes, sir. So we set this up as sort of a trial basis because we are really unsure of how many citizens already have licenses. So this program would provide 200 licenses or 250 licenses, I'm sorry, for the first year, and it would be done on a random drawing is how that would be done. And the difference, you know, kind of the comparison between this and the compact licenses, we didn't want to duplicate. So, you know, the compact licenses, they send to everyone, whether you have one or not. This wouldn't do that. If citizen already has a hunting license and fishing license, and we wouldn't, a lifetime hunting and fishing license, and we wouldn't be just duplicating that service. So the idea was to put this in as sort of a trial basis the first year, see how many applicants we get. And then, you know, if we only get 100 applicants, obviously we can adjust that number for the next year.
I understand that part of it. Those 16 and under are not required to have a license. Those 65 and older can get a lifetime for $10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wanting to know that number in between there. How many is it going to affect?
I don't know, sir. I don't know that number, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Jennings. Representative Randolph.
I was going to ask Mr. Wiley if he could address the question about sovereignty.
Well, this would raise an interesting question for sure, because I assume some of these licenses are going to be purchased for use inside the boundaries of the Muskogee Creek Nation Reservation. So it seems to me in some way we're conceding that we need a license to hunt within our own reservation. That question hasn't been answered yet through courts or any other legal proceedings, but that's how I see it. I see it as a sort of concession.
Mr. Wiley, can you tell us what concession is?
Concession?
Yes.
Giving in, giving up. If you concede victory, you're letting the other side win.
Okay. So you do feel like it might infringe on some sovereignty in some way?
Well, yeah, I think we'd be admitting that we need an Oklahoma hunting license to hunt and fish within our reservation boundaries. Now, this could set up a problem for someone who would get a license through here. If a game ranger stops them and they don't have a license, then begins the legal challenge. But, you know, we can deal with that when it happens.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Representative Jones.
No, that's it.
Okay. Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Attorney General Wiley, you don't have to come down. Just a quick question. Wouldn't this also kind of contradict the declaration we just did last month about our sovereignty? Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph.
No.
Lucian Tiger III.
No.
Mary Crawford.
No.
Joyce Steer.
No.
Patrick Freeman. Joseph Hicks.
No.
Robert Huff.
No.
James Jennings.
No.
Adam Jones.
No.
William Lowe.
No.
Anna Marshall.
No.
Charles McHenry.
No.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
No.
Gerald Proctor.
No.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against. Sorry. 0 in favor, 14 against.
0 in favor, 14 against. That motion fails. NCA 21052, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending MCNCA Title 37, Chapter 2, entitled Budget and Finance. Sponsors William Lowe.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative Lowe made a motion to adopt NCA 21052. Do I have a second? Seconded by Representative Jennings. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Gerald Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huft,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones III.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. NCA 21053, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation to amend the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation to add Article 14, Independent Free Press. Sponsors Mark Randolph.
Motion to adopt.
Representative Randolph made a motion to adopt NCA 21053. Do I have a second? Seconded by Representative Huff. Discussion.
Speaker Hicks.
Representative Randolph.
I have Miss Angel Ellis and Miss Becca Lansbury Baker. I'd like to give them a little time to make a statement and entertain any questions the council might have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Ellis, are you online?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ellis, you have the floor.
Thank you. I would just like to ask this council to support this opportunity for the Muskogee Creek Nation citizens to have the chance to decide their governing rules that are protected in the Constitution come September. This seems like a really great time to fiscally and responsibly put a question before the people in a way that wouldn't create a burden financially for the tribe. And I could concede over to Ms. Lansbury too, please. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Ms. Lansbury?
Yes, thank you all. I just want to add that this amendment comes at a really critical time for the tribe as Muskogee Media works to counter some of the misinformation and disinformation and the slanted coverage coming from our mainstream media counterparts on the McGirt case specifically. So just wanted to reiterate that news and information is a service to our citizens, and allowing them to make this decision and vote on the amendment is the ultimate exercise in our sovereignty. So this would be a really historic vote, and if the Muskogee Creek Nation does decide to vote it by a vote of the citizens, it would be the first tribe to pass free press protections at this level in Indian country, which would really be a milestone. So I appreciate the council's consideration in this vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lansbury. Representative Randolph?
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Any other discussion?
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Ms. Lansbury?
Ms. Lansbury?
Ms. Lansbury?
Yeah, yes, Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Ms. Lansbury. You know, I was okay with the legislation until we received the substitute, and the substitute, states that the Muskogee Creek Nation shall fund the day-to-day operations and publication of the independent press. Doesn't that contradict itself? If the Muskogee Creek Nation's paying all of your expenses, your payroll states Muskogee Creek Nation, therefore, how can you be independent?
Well, I think we can look at the NPR and PBS models of public funding. As I mentioned, this is a service to the citizens. So would you look at it and consider it like that? Like all the independent agencies of the Muskogee Creek Nation, you are spending money in the budget to support news and information that's critical to the citizens being informed and to a healthy fourth estate here in the democratic process for voters being informed on what's happening and news and information and also culture and language.
Thank you, Ms. Lansbury. Ms. Ellis?
I think that the model of public funding for public information has been successful in many instances, and our nation could be one of the leaders in Indian country to continue that model in terms of public funds that are generated through gaming revenue being used to keep the citizens informed about their government. Seems like a fair kind of trade-off service-wise. And we also see that the times are still playing out where this is protecting really the concept of undue influence of political, inreach, which still has become a problem, even despite our code being, against it. This would be another layer of protection against the inreach of political influence. And it really would solidify the fact that the citizens have access to information that isn't politically influenced, but our nation is providing that service to them.
So with that being said, Ms. Ellis, are you stating that you don't have any political influence at all involved in anything that transpires at Muskogee Media?
My political influence or influence from the outside into our department, because we have recently been under the, instance where we've had requests from political branches trying to kind of steer or influence our coverage. So that's still an issue that we still have to tread lightly on. And this kind of a bill would allow the citizens to go to vote and add another layer of protection to keep those kind of influences out of the department.
So what about, example, termination of an employee? Has there been any political influence in regards to anything like that?
To my knowledge, there's never been any political influence asking for termination of any employees. Our department is working with HR right now. I don't know if that's an open instance that we can discuss in open meetings.
No, just my question was if you'd had any political influence on termination of any employees recently.
Oh, no political influence on the termination of any employees at our department.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Representative Huff.
I just have a comment to make.
Representative Huff, can you speak in the microphone?
I have just a comment to make. All of it. We have several different independent boards, and all the independent boards we have now are all funded by the Creek Nation already anyway, too. So it should be no different.
Thank you, Representative Huff. Representative Randolph.
I'd just like to say the legislation is really about putting this in the hands of the citizens and giving the citizens an input, a chance to vote on this. I think freedom of press has quite a history within our nation. And last year in June, as a council, we unanimously supported freedom of press and independent status. And so now, to me, it's just a natural step. If it's going to be protected for our future generations, it's going to have to be protected by the Constitution. It's going to have to be a right. It's going to have to be protected from there. And that's the reason I picked up this legislation again. I did speak with the election board, and it'll be no cost to the nation. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Randolph. Any other discussion? Representative Jennings.
Thank you, Speaker. So, Ms. Ellis and Ms. Lansbury, my comment to you, should this pass through the council today, I don't agree with you promoting this constitutional amendment through the Muskogee Media funded by the tribe. I don't think you should be allowed to advertise for passage of that to the people because this is tribal money, and it's just a campaign issue, I would say. So, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jennings. Any other discussion? Representative Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. You know, true independence is separated from the tribe, though. You know, and that's what I've tried to kind of feel that out is to see is if you're independent, then you will be self-sustaining. You know, and what's your future for bringing other revenues to be self-sustaining to Angel Ellis and Rebecca Lansbury Baker?
I can kind of help a little with this question. If you look at the kind of situation that we're in with self-sustaining our systems in the tribal sense, we at media experience a lot of the same struggles that our tribe is experiencing to catch up with the judicial system. It's the same thing. The market has been doing things one way for a very long time, and we have a very huge challenge to sustainably finance ourselves through seeking advertising. We do have the advantage that we have commercial printing operations, but in this market, in this area, we would be hard pressed and we would take a long time before we would ever be able to turn a revenue that supports the level of service that we provide at this time. A big chunk of our operating costs and budgets are put into postage and printing, and those things take time to build up an advertising base, and it's sometimes almost impossible to do when you're competing with Griffin Communications and these really huge media outlets that are out there. And that's where the majority of advertising is done, because advertisers want to put their money into a place that delivers information to the most people. And we find that our population is often left out of, say, the coverage that is done by these giant media companies. They don't come and they don't do Muskogee Creek Nation's elections like you would see us putting that information out there. And so really, we're tapping into a population that needs information and oversight and communications in their very small, of the bigger market government, right? The money is not there for Channel 6 to come and put the point of view of Muskogee Creek Nation out. Channel 6 is incentivized to, echo the narrative of the state of Oklahoma. So when we go out and we put information out specifically for Muskogee Creek citizens, it's really hard to monetize that service. It can be done. The more we have access to free ourselves up from government processes, we are able to pursue grants and we're able to pursue other public funding. And we would even be able to expand our commercial operations, but we're hinged to the government processes. So unless we ever created some form of endowment where the Muskogee Creek Nation sort of puts forth some funding towards this and actually kicks it out to be operated by completely independent processes, not hinged to like government accounting, we would never be able to fiscally pull the money in that would support the operation. So what we're really looking for is a standard extra layer of citizen oversight and involvement where they can kind of affect how their rights are protected and their service is protected. And that's what I think the spirit of this legislation is. I know that in the past, we've discussed good and bad news, but what the National Council would really be doing by approving this legislation, the National Council would be saying to its citizens, here's you a question for you to decide what you want for yourselves.
Thank you. But also, wouldn't that be pretty much given a blank check, because the budget that we would be providing, you provide to us, we would have to fund that fully by this legislation if it passes?
In terms that we would submit our budget to the comprehensive annual budget, yes, the Muskogee Creek Nation would still support the operations, but that would still go through budget approval, as an independent agency always does, and it's a part of the comprehensive annual budget. So that would be approved by the government. There are checks and balances still. It would just kind of allow that extra layer of citizen involvement, citizens impacting their democracy, and they would have that right to kind of feel empowered, with their own decisions and self-governance.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that too. The Muskogee media model is unique in that there are, program income that is generated from the activities on the creative side, on the graphics and printing side, to kind of supplement costs of that service that the editorial side is working on as well. And yeah, I think it would follow the very similar process that's already in the Constitution for supporting, the college supporting the services that are provided by the election board. So as Angel said, it would still go through an approval process, and it's not like, Muskogee Media can do whatever they want without any oversight. There is the editorial board that's overseeing that process, making sure that budgets are in alignment with standard numbers, and again, pushing that through for the approval process that's prescribed by the tribe. So that's a great question.
Thank you. I support freedom of the press. I support giving it to the citizens, let them vote on it, but I don't support us funding it 100%. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jones.
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. I agree with Representative Jones' comments. I do believe that this is something that should go to the vote of our citizens, even though I don't agree with the nation funding the day-to-day operations and publication, because I just still feel that's not an independent press. But I do believe that this is something that should go to the vote of our citizens. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Tiger. Any other discussion? Hearing none, this will require 2/3 vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
Yes.
Speaker Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
No.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Hannah Marshall,
No.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Yohola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Speaker, you have 13 in favor, 2 against.
13 in favor, 2 against. That motion is adopted. NCA 21054, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a supplemental appropriation for the Muskogee Creek Nation Tax Commission fiscal year 2021. Sponsors William Lowe.
Speaker, make a motion to adopt.
Representative Lowe made a motion to adopt NCA 21054. Do I have a second? Seconded by Representative Huff. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Hannah Marshall,
No.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Thomasina Yohola Osborne,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III,
No.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Steer,
No.
Patrick Freeman, Joseph Hicks,
No.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
James Jennings,
No.
Adam Jones.
No.
Speaker, you have 7 in favor, 7 against.
7 in favor, 7 against. Speaker's votes yes.
Speaker, you have 8 in favor, 0 against. I
8
mean,
in favor.
7 against, sorry.
8 in favor, 7 against. That motion is adopted. NCA 21055, A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a special appropriation for the Duck Creek Indian community. Sponsors James Jennings.
Speaker,
Representative Jennings.
thank you, sir. I'd just like to make a motion to postpone since TR 21080 was postponed till next month. So without the TR, we can't act on this. So I'll make a motion to postpone it next month.
Okay. Representative Jennings made a motion to postpone NCA 21055 for next month's agenda, seconded by Representative Jones. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
James Jennings. Adam Jones.
Yes.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Anna Marshall.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Thomasina Hola Osborne.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III.
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Joyce Steer.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Speaker have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. NCA 21056, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds for public relations services for the Muskogee Creek Nation. Sponsors Adam Jones III.
Motion adopt.
Representative Jones made a motion to adopt NCA 21056. Do I have a second? Seconded by Representative Huff. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Sorry. James Jennings.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Anna Marshall.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Thomasina Hola Osborne.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III.
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Joyce Steer.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Speaker have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion is adopted. The 057.
Speaker. Yes, please ask Chief Hill if he would stay for other business, please. There's some couple questions for him, please. Thank you.
Chief Hill, the request was for you to be present for other business. He has some questions for you. NCA 21057. A law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending MCNCA Title 5, subsection 2-107, entitled Summer Church Camp and Mission Trip Grant. Sponsor Thomasina Yohola Osborne.
Speaker motion to adopt.
Representative Yohola Osborne made a motion to adopt
Second.
NCA 21057, seconded by Representative Randolph. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Thomasina Hola Osborne.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Lucian Tiger III.
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Joyce Steer.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
William Lowe.
Yes.
Anna Marshall.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Speaker have 14 in favor, 0 against.
14 in favor, 0 against. That motion passes. Okay. That concludes the order of business. Down to other business.
Speaker.
Representative Tiger.
Thank you, Speaker. Chief Hill, I have a question on an email that was sent, and then after that, I have a comment to make in regards to some issues that came up yesterday with Light Horse. So the first one is, you had a response to the request of Representative Jones dated May 14, 2021, to be provided with the invoices of my attorneys. Please be advised that my attorney invoices and communications are protected by attorney-client privilege and will not be provided. I don't disagree with that. The issue that I have with that I see is Joseph Williams has paid $112,877 out of the interest on the permanent fund budget, and it shows it's for the Office of the Principal Chief. shows contractual. So my question is, first off, I guess would be for controller as well. Is this McGirt money out of the $500,000 from McGirt money? Is that what that would be considered? Because it's interest on permanent fund, and I'm trying to understand how the Office of the Principal Chief is paying contractual to, I guess, his attorney out of interest on permanent fund monies. That should be out of his budgeted item for the Office of the Principal Chief. Is that correct?
Representative, I would need to look at that specific amount, the amount in question, to see exactly where that's coded. And also, I'd like to review the invoice and I agree with Representative's point. I would just need to look at the invoice and see exactly what that is comprised of, that amount.
So could you please provide that information? Because with that being said, if it is off the McGirt, that was $500,000, and the two entities that I believe we're using aside from Mr. Williams to pay out of that, Third Dimensions, that was a TR to approve that spending of that McGirt monies, as well as, let me see, Ben Nighthorse Consultants. Those are the two pieces of legislation that were used to use that McGirt monies. And when I see this for Mr. Williams and the email that was received stating that that's an attorney, I understand that's an attorney, but that should come out of the Office of the Principal Chief budget, not off of interest of permanent funds. Like I say, that's a large amount. That's $112,877.
Are you saying that if it is coming out of that amount, it's not subject to the privilege?
That would be my opinion. Mr. Wiley, do you have any thoughts on that? So, Mr. Wiley, my question is, how's the Office of Principal Chief using interest on the permanent fund for contractual monies without any legislation?
Well, the council has the constitutional responsibility to appropriate money, and money that is appropriated for a particular purpose should be spent for that purpose. Generally speaking, I don't know all the facts of this, but that's general principle is true. The council appropriates for a purpose, and that purpose must be followed.
Thank you. And that, like I said, that's where my confusion was when I got the email. I do understand that Chief does have a line item budget for attorneys, but I don't believe it can be used for interest of the permanent fund. So thank you both for that. Mr. Darnell, request through Speaker to please provide the information on that, how that transpired, please. Also, Chief Hill, I received a phone call yesterday morning. You know, and there were some issues discussed, but they were in executive session, so I'll just leave it at Lighthorse. With this questions concerning Lighthorse, comments made about Lighthorse during BF&J meeting, I received a phone call yesterday morning from Sergeant for Glenpool Police Department that he had been dealing with a case for approximately 7 hours. Once they got the individual arrested to the hospital, it was an accident that had 3 minor children in the car with the individual. He was reaching out to Lighthorse, was not being successful, trying to understand. Once they got to the hospital, she let them know that she was a Creek citizen. So Glenpool Police Department is reaching out, trying to find answers what to do with this individual. I received a phone call about 7:50 from the Glenpool Police Department. I referred them to the Office of the Attorney General, so I don't know what transpired after that. But I know that goes back to communication with Lighthorse. Lighthorse should be able to answer those questions. I shouldn't be receiving calls at 7 o'clock or 7:50 in the morning from Glenpool Police Department when we have a $10 million budget for Lighthorse. So if you don't mind, I'd also like to, I just want to bring that to your attention and ask Mr. Wiley what came of that yesterday.
That's the first I'm aware of. I mean, I wish you would send me an email and I could have followed up on it, but it appears you bring it up at the last minute. But I'll get with Roger and see if he knows anything.
Yes, because I gave the Attorney General office number to Sergeant Plain. Well,
Yeah.
that's what he should do. But it's just, it goes back to, again, Light Horse should know these things. It shouldn't be come to you, chief. It shouldn't come to you. We have a chief of police. It shouldn't come to me. It shouldn't have to go to the Attorney General's office. So I would just like to know what the follow-up conversation was on that, if it's okay.
Okay. Well, I agree. I mean, it should be followed up. I totally agree, but I can't fix anything if I don't know it's broken. So if anything does come up, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley.
Well, I can tell you what happened yesterday, Mr. Tiger. Glenpool wanted an answer to a legal question, and Light Horse was essentially giving them legal advice. They asked if they could speak to a prosecutor, and this is the part that really bothers me. Whoever they spoke to with Light Horse said they didn't have the prosecutor's phone number. Well, I signed, we entered into an agreement with AT&T about a month ago for a particular on-call prosecutor to carry a cell phone around 24 hours a day. And Light Horse, I know, had that number. Here's my issue with that whole scenario, and we solved the problem. We answered it within 30 minutes. Could have been done Thursday night that way if they'd had contact with our prosecutor. Here's my concern with those things. You know, it's not hard to give someone a phone number, and you should be able to call anybody in Light Horse to get a prosecutor's phone number. We all deal with this when we go to Walmart or Lowe's. You're looking for a particular item. Someone's in the aisle where you think it is, they're stocking, working hard. You say, excuse me, could you help me find light bulbs? And you're going to find some of these stalkers who say, no, I don't know where it is. Just brush you off. Then you're going to find some who go the extra mile. And they're going to say, I don't know where they are, but I'll help you find them. Well, that's what we need when people communicate with us, and not just in Light Horse, in all of our departments. We need to go the extra mile, provide that service. Like someone said, people are watching us now, and they're particularly watching law enforcement and prosecution. So I just want to see us go the extra mile to provide that service and show that we are entitled to this responsibility that we have. And if we fail at answering a simple question like, what's the prosecutor's phone number, then we're going to have some serious problems. I just want to see that get fixed. It's just basic customer service. So it did get resolved.
Thank you, Attorney General. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Tiger. Any other business? Hearing none. Announcements. Is there any announcements from council? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Representative Huff made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Representative Tiger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. This time, I'd like to ask Representative McHenry if he would do the benediction, please.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we praise your holy name, giving thanks unto you for this day that you have blessed us with, Father. We thank you for your Spirit, Father, that was given to us today, Father. We ask, Lord, that you continue to guide us and direct us, Father. Bless the decisions that were made. We ask, Lord, that you keep your arms wrapped around the Muskogee Creek Nation, Father, and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Meeting adjourned, 11:23.